guy. Subba say I won't sing. Pray to Jay, I did the same old, same old.
Knock yourself a pro slick. The gray matter back. Lot performers down. Not take TCB in, man.
Hey, you know what they say? See a broad to get that booty yak 'em. Leg her down or smack 'em, yak 'em. Cold got to be. You know? Shit.
Here we go again. Blazing Saddles could not be made today. History of the World Part 1 could not be made today. I'm Gonna Get You Sucker could not be made today. And now we can add Airplane could not be made today. Only if it didn't have the jokes, according to the director of the comedy hit. But before we start, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you receive all of our notifications here on Cuticast TV and Madman with the Show. David Zucker, you've known him. He's got an illustrious career in directing, created one of the funniest movies. Even my mom loved this movie. It is Airplane, which is a knock on the airplane disaster movies of past. This film has been touted to be a replica of another movie from the black and white era. And some say some of the 1970 disaster films of the same name. Well, they used to be called Airport 77, and various other films. And of course, David Zucker was also known for the Naked Gun series, Police Squad, which I love. If there, one DVD that should be in your collection is the Police Squad TV series DVD listing and the movies. For the reason is that is some great comedy in there, really funny, and it should be well acknowledged that these are great comedies. They're great comedies, some great jokes. Now, before the shutdown during the pandemic, last year 2020 marked the 40th anniversary of the release of Airplane. And they had a Q&A, because they had a screening held at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood, and a Q&A, an audience member had asked, could you make Airplane today? And Zucker's response is, of course we could, but just without the jokes. Why? Why couldn't you use the jokes? Why? You think people are going to be offended? People are always going to be offended no matter what. This is why Hollywood has been failing. This is why you've had crappy movies, crappy comedies that have been released out either direct to video or in theater. They sit there and says, well, we can't make fun of people. Well, I tout back to a great line by a great comedian, Robin Williams, who once said, does God have a sense of humor? I think so. Look at the platypus. It's a mammal and lays eggs. Think about that for a minute. Really think about that for a minute. God, what a loss we had with Robin, when Robin Williams passed. You look to the perspective that you could have these movies today. There's a History of the World Part 2 coming as a TV series. And we have a video coming out like that. And this is being done by Hulu and Disney. Mel Brooks is attached to it, but I'm still afraid that they're not going to do the things like they did in the original film itself. That basically they're going to be a bit more, how can we put this, without the jokes that you've always been known to have. We need a good laugh right now. Especially today. By directors saying, well, we can't do this today. Bullshit. Who says so? The 10 people on Twitter who has 1,000 accounts, each one of them?
don't give a fuck because Twitter's not a real place.
Because that's what it is. That's straight out what it is. I applaud Dave Chappelle, and we got a video on him coming also out, that basically he said it right on his comedy special. Why do people not criticize a person who shot a person in Walmart, whether it was self-defense or not, and then that same person went out to ridicule the trans community, and then everybody wants him canceled completely? Killing someone versus making a statement on trans people or how he feels about trans people. Why is that different? Nobody is above anybody. And as I said in the other video, there's someone who's trans in my wife's family. As far as I can see, they've been accepted. They're okay with it. It's a situation. You know, I have a belief that, you know, if you want to wear a dress, fine. You want to be a woman, fine. You want to be a man, fine. But understand, people are not going to accept that. They're always not going to accept that. People don't accept people being fat. Some people don't expect people to be thin. Some people don't be redheads. Some people don't black. People don't respect to be Hispanics, you know. You know, they said, well, you're being insensitive. Okay. Well, you don't have to watch the special. You don't have to watch the movie. If you don't like something, it's like, you know, you could change the channel. Don't press play. Don't go to that movie theater to watch that movie. Don't take that away from other people. If people enjoy that kind of comedy, fine, let them have it. Let them have it. You can't sit there and say, well, it causes hatred upon people. That's a lie. That is a total lie. Don't lie to people this way, because it doesn't. And say, well, it's hate speech. Not according to the Supreme Court in the 1960s. There is no such thing as hate speech. People today, they said, hate speech, hate speech, hate speech. If I hate the New York Yankees and I like the New York Mets, does that call hate speech? To some people, that may say yes. Because I may make fun of the Yankees and say this, and that. And you say, oh, that's hate speech. And you may say, well, that's stupid, that's extreme. But there you go. People in this world are always going to hate other people. Can't stop that. Can't stop that at all. You want to change the world. But see, the thing about it is, you live here in a world that is better than most other places around the world. Go to China. Go to Russia. Go to the Middle East. Go to India. You'll be wow to what goes on in these countries. You'll be surprised. And I'll tell you this, you don't even have to take a ticket and go fly there. You could see it online. Rampant racism, slavery, gay people being murdered, women being whipped and murdered, women being draped. The world is ugly. Sometimes you need a laugh to understand that the world is ugly. Because sometimes, you can make fun of yourself. You can, sure, there's no problem. There's some great comedy films out there. Like I said, there's a movie called I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. Great freaking film. The Wayans. If you have not seen this movie, it is a homage to the black exploitation movie starring some of the people that were in those movies. And it is a fun film to watch. Now, as far as Airplane, are they talking about that it's insensitive, the two guys that are talking jive in the movie? That is one of the funny scenes in the movie. When these two black guys, if you haven't seen Airplane, I'm sorry to ruin it for you a little bit, where these two guys are talking jive and nobody understands them except for this one white woman, this elderly lady, where the guy is sitting there and he's sick and the stewardess is trying to figure out what it is. and he starts to talk. The elderly woman comes up and she says, "Stewardess, I speak jive."
All right, would you tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine?
Just hang loose, blood. She's gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
What it is, Big Mama? My mama didn't raise no dummies. I duck a rap.
And they go through this whole thing, and it's hysterical. I still laugh at that. And the whole gag is topped off by the whitest lady on the planet, the actress who played the mom on Leave It to Beaver. And I forgot about that. It is the mom from Leave It to Beaver translating the whole thing. You know, I keep saying this. If you want to make a movie like Airplane, or do a comedy like a Dave Chappelle type comedy, or make your own TV series, stuff like that, do it yourself. Don't go to Hollywood. Don't go to Hollywood. And I'll tell you why. Plain and simple. It's very simple to this nature. There are people out there that will fund you. They will fund you. You've seen this on Kickstarter. You've seen it on Indigo. If they could do it for comics, they have done it for TV shows and certain movies where they basically crowdfunded. Right now, to the time of this recording, these are the last days of the Kickstarter Dirty Pair, the anime that they're trying to dub, the section that's never been dubbed since the beginning. They're about to reach $500,000 with 2,000 backers. Think about this section. 2,000 backers were able to reach $500,000. Think of that from a movie perspective. Can you make a movie with $500,000? Yes, you fucking can. And I've seen people make movies like that. I've done shorts in my life. Stuff that I wish we still had. I need to contact somebody if this particular person still has all the stuff we did when we were in high school. Because we did some stuff when we were in high school and put it on VHS. I don't know if those VHSs still exist to this day. And we had fun doing those. Did we spend any money on them? No. Hell freaking no. And the technology was harder then in the 1980s than it is today. Because you could go out, get yourself an editing system, one of the best editing systems in the world, DaVinci Resolve, for free. Free, free. And you say to yourself, well, does it have, it's missing things, doesn't it? Yeah, it is. It's missing some things tailored. But what you get, from the perspective that you get, you could do an entire film with this editing system. Because it has multi-track audio, which is basically Fairlight audio. It has one of the best color grading and shading systems ever put together. Some of it much better than Adobe, much better than most editing systems out today that cost a lot more or paying monthly. And if you did want to pay for it, full version of this system, it's only $300. And I don't know if they're still giving the track. They had a trackball for it, a little device that you could use, the old linear systems, treating it as a linear system and not a non-linear to edit. I don't know if they're still giving that away. But still, you got that, okay? And you said, but what about a camera? What about a camera? Cameras are fairly expensive these days. Yeah, you're right. You can get yourself a good camera for a couple $100. Yeah, that's right. But let me ask you a question. Do you own a cell phone? Especially if it's an iPhone. That shoots great video in itself. Especially the newer ones now these days. Anything from, I think, an iPhone 10 and up. Those are much better lenses these days. It's more professional lens that's on there now. You've seen the commercials. You could take an iPhone and shoot a film with an iPhone and edit it. And we've seen this. People do TV shows And you've seen people on YouTube use cellular phones as their cameras. If you happen to have a regular Canon, like a regular camera, like a Canon 770D or any of these other ones that have video capability, you could use them as well. Does it have to be in 4K? You could probably adjust it. You could probably switch it up to 4K. I mean, it won't be perfect 4K, but it'll be good quality. Or if you have a 4K camera, if you happen to be one that can shoot in 4K, great. But putting it up on YouTube and stuff like that, most people don't care if it's in 4K or not. So basically, a comedy needs jokes to be a comedy. They need something to define the joke. Sometimes we're making fun of life. It happens to be true. It happens to be true. Stereotyping people happens to be part of comedy. Of course, these great men, Lenny Bruce, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, Eddie Murphy, George Carlin, Robin Williams, many others. Do they need to be canceled? Do they need to be canceled for all the jokes they make? There's a whole line in Raw, the concert movie Raw with Eddie Murphy, where he talks about Italians. Nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about, oh, he insulted Italians. You know, we need to remove that out. There's a saying, comedians are equal opportunity. And we have another video about a killer in a movie being called homophobic. But that killer is an equal opportunity killer. It doesn't matter what he was. All these guys are equal opportunity. They're going to take the flavor of the day and they're going to make jokes about it. Nobody is strapping you to a chair to sit and listen to them. If you find that discouraging, that you don't enjoy it, walk away. Walk away. Other people enjoy it. And you say, well, that's making people racist. No, it isn't. What information you have? What information do you have? What research do you have that makes this true? None. Zero. Zero. Do you understand? Zero. People make these things up. Especially now these days with the internet. You know, on Twitter and stuff like that. And like I said, it's 10 people on Twitter with 1,000 accounts each.
I don't give a fuck because Twitter's not a real place.
Make it look like that it's a lot of people. It's not. These are a small minority of people that don't care about the world. They don't care about what you watch. They just want to see the world burn. They're the type of person that, like Robert Conrad's commercial, I want you to hit this battery off my shoulder, if you remember those. And I keep saying this. I keep saying this. Stop hiring activists. Stop thinking that you can't make these movies up. That you can't put these movies out. There are jokes. There will always be jokes. We need to laugh. We need humor now more than ever. Do you understand? More than ever. The way the world has been burning right now, we need comedy more than ever. And there are some great comedians still out there, like Dave Chappelle and Mel Brooks and Zucker and many other people that have made comedy movies, that make comedy specials. Let me tell you, let me put this final perspective. Two of the biggest comedians overseas, one of them is Jeff Dunham. And can you say one of the most favorite characters? Yes, Ahmed the Dead Terrorist. And let me tell you something. You would think of all the places in the world, only one place did not allow Ahmed the Dead Terrorist. And it wasn't in the Mideast. It wasn't in Israel. It was Malaysia. Malaysia banned Ahmed the terrorist. They didn't want it. But guess what? The fans wanted it. The people that live in Malaysia wanted it. They were coming. What did Jeff Dunham do? Well, he brought out a new character called Jacques Mir, the French dead terrorist. And if you know French, what Jacques Mir means is jack shit. And people enjoyed it. The video's out there. The video is out there. Go check it out. It's really funny. It is a real funny bit. I mean, Ahmed went to Israel, made that joke, and said, hey, what's with all the Jews? If you get offended by comedy, if you get offended by Jeff Dunham, don't go see him. You know what type of comedy that is. If you get offended by Dave Chappelle, don't go see him. If you get offended by the other popular one overseas, is Fluffy, Gabriel Iglesias, don't go see him. Nobody is attaching you to go see this stuff. I love this stuff, and I enjoy this, and I will continue to enjoy this. Even if they cancel this out, which I know they're not going to, because this is going to be a fight and a half, I will always, because I have Airplane on my video shelf. I have Mel Brooks. I have the Dave Chappelle Show on my shelf. And I will always put it in and have a laugh every once in a while. So until next time, we'll see you on the next video. Thank you for tuning in. And bye-bye now.